Today, my guest is Molly Floyd, the incredible customer success director at iHire. Now, what sets Molly apart is her impressive background in education as a teacher and a principal. Those roles have honed her skills in building relationships, collaborating effectively, and juggling the needs of multiple stakeholders. It's no wonder she's excelling in her current position, where she focuses on tackling the unique challenges faced by iHire's clients. Although Molly's roots are in education, her love for growth and building connections has led her to this exciting chapter in customer success. Get ready to be inspired and empowered by Molly.
iHire connects you to industry-specific jobs in over 57 talent communities. Find your niche today on iHire.
Well, Molly, I feel like I'm getting two interviews for the price of one here because I want to talk to you about your career path, both from being an elementary school teacher to a principal, and then your career change from principal to director of customer success here at iHire. So it's so great to have you here, Molly.
Thank you. I'm really happy and excited to be here.
Let's start by exploring your career journey in education. How did you go from being a teacher? What grade did you teach? Tell me a little bit about that, to becoming the principal of the elementary school.
Well, I always wanted to be a teacher. Growing up, I would play school in our playroom. I converted it into a classroom. Our Barbie doll house turned into a teacher's desk, and the stuffed animals were around to hear the lessons that I was providing. Loved to grade papers and, just make that space a classroom. It was just always something that I knew I wanted to do. So it was easy in high school. There was a program that we could spend half a day at a local elementary school and just be in the classroom. I was in a second grade classroom and helped facilitate one on one sessions and just learn what it was like in a classroom. I learned from the students very much then as well. You're always learning from them. And so once I completed that program through the high school, I went to Indiana University in Fort Wayne and finished my elementary education degree at Tri-State. So my first year of teaching was fourth grade. They prepare you from the textbook, but when you're in the classroom, it's a whole new reality. So every day was, applying the skills and lessons you learned, but then like the dose of what you're really doing took over. So after about 3 or 4 years of teaching, I knew I wanted to go deeper into that world, kind of explore the different paths you could take. So I sought out a master's program focused on reading. That was a passion of mine. I struggled with it in elementary school and had a wonderful teacher, Mrs. Lewis. She invested a lot of time and patience in me. I'm very grateful for that. So, I thought that's how I could give back even more. That program was no longer really an option through the school I was looking at. So I went a different route and looked in the curriculum and instructional path you can take. That program had also closed out at the university at this time. So the option was a master's in educational leadership. And so being a principal, administration, that was super scary. And I had reservations, but knew that something scary like that could also lead to growth. And so I went for it.
As a school principal, I am sure that you have 1,000 different incredible stories. Do you have any rewarding moments that really stand out to you?
Yeah, so the rewarding experiences that stand out to me are really the small moments in the classroom. I recall having a secret handshake with an entire second grade class, and then just like those little moments where you're communicating with the students just through looks and body language. Like a lot can be communicated that way, and you build a relationship with these little guys, and so you learn how you can communicate that way. So, one specific memory that stands out, a little boy named David, when I taught at an elementary school in Greenville, South Carolina, he was super nervous to present to the class, had anxiety around it. So, it was so rewarding to be able to coach him and to also coach the class at the same time that, we're here to support him, to listen, just help him. We're here to help. So,
Right.
he ended up doing a really great job, and he was very proud of himself, and that just felt like a big success. Like, I think, I hope that one moment or experience just started to build others, where he's an adult now somewhere out in the world, and can feel confident in what he's doing.
And it's funny because the teachers in elementary school can really make or break those moments. I remember I don't like conflict at all. And I remember the first time that a teacher yelled at me, and I was devastated.
Yeah.
Like for for days, I was just afraid to say boo in the classroom
Mhm.
because I was afraid I was going to get yelled at. And I don't think that she was really yelling at me in particular. I think it was a group of us, but it is funny how impressionable
Yeah.
you are as a child.
Right. How you internalize all those moments. It's
Yeah.
important. And I think being aware of that as a teacher, it's quite a bit of power to like and
Mhm.
responsibility to to know that and to be aware in those moments.
So then joining iHire as the director of customer service was a huge career change for you. Big step to get out of the principalship and into the business world. What motivated you to make that change?
Yeah, so I think it goes back to some of the challenges that are present in the world of education. We had many students who came to school for basic needs to be met before they could soak up the lessons and curriculum that we were there to provide them. So that was a challenge just as a teacher and a principal to have everyone on the same page that there's things that have to come first before we can be successful in why we think we're here to teach them math and history and social studies. But it's about like, there's some children who they have to have breakfast first, and they need to know that this classroom is a safe place, and they need love and support, and we have to build their self-respect and self-esteem before we can get to that other stuff that we think is the important reason why we're here. So that's what I loved about it, to be able to focus on those things that really matter. But I think ultimately that at the same time, that's what burned me out. I felt slightly defeated, I would say. I was in a place in my life, they talk about seasons of life. And I think that with two young children and a family, I could not dedicate the energy that is required really to do either job well. So I had to resign from one, and that was the teaching profession.
Right.
So that's what led me to looking for something else.
And I would imagine that it's not a 8 to 5 job. You have to reach out to parents in the evening and talk to them about what's going on at school or what's going on with their children. And I would imagine that that is very tough too.
Yeah, it really is a 24 hours a day job in a way, because you're constantly thinking about what we can do better, what we can do differently. You get invested in the children and their emotional well-being, and that
Mhm.
can all be very draining.
Give us some insight into what your role entails. What does your director of customer success role look like from day to day?
So right now I support 4 people who manage 14 other people. It's those 14 other people that are taking direct care of our customers. My day looks like meeting, in one-on-one, supporting my team as they support their teams, collaborating with our marketing department, product, reviewing important KPIs, helping build our new customer advisory board. That's kind of the general day, throughout the week. I'm working on those things.
It's interesting how different industries intersect in surprising ways. Are there any skills or lessons that you learned or you brought from being a teacher and a principal over into this customer success role?
Yeah, absolutely. The one that stands out to me is conflict resolution. I think it entails many other skills in there, but just listening, being polite and professional but direct, staying calm in unpleasant situations. That was a huge one that I would experience, just stressful situations where you had a plan, it's not going as planned, and you need to be flexible and adjust, but like keep your composure and just go with it. So I think all of that really helped prepare me and set me up to be successful in this role. Often in our interviews for customer success managers, I'll share, part of this role is learning to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. So I think that that's exactly what I experienced, and it has helped me feel comfortable for things that you can't always plan for. So
And in the field of customer service or customer success, it's all about fostering those relationships and the conflict management, as you said. What aspects do you find most fulfilling about your role?
So it really is the relationship piece. When I saw the job description for the client relationship manager role, is what it was called then, it was very heavily centered around building relationships with customers and helping them be successful. And it felt like that was speaking to me, like the relationship piece. That was what mattered so much to me in the previous role. And so it was like, if I can focus on that, that be the most important piece of this role, then it's a good fit.
So, this is a question I'm going to start asking everyone that's on the podcast because I am so intrigued by artificial intelligence, AI, all the tools that are just coming on so fast every day. I get I get a lot of newsletters, and it's just like something every day is coming out that would help our industry. But what do you see as some of the game changing things that AI is being used for in the field of customer service?
Yeah. Before I touch on that, I want to say that I did like your post. You had a recent post about not being afraid that AI will replace your job, but be
Right.
more concerned about the people who are using AI because they might. So it's
Yes,
like
they will be the ones to replace.
there's no choice right now, really, but to lean into it and figure out how it can help and how it can
Mhm.
make us more efficient. So, that's a challenge. That's an open invitation right now to our team to come up with some ways that it can make our communication easier with customers, how it could help our processes be more efficient, or how we research our customers. So, yeah, we're in that space right now of thinking, how can we utilize this to our advantage? And then there's also, I'm aware that there are ways that I can't even possibly think of right now. So that will take a group of many people, not just in CS, but in other departments to help us figure that out as well.
And understand how to implement that into everybody's day to day.
Hmm.
I'm sure people are getting tired of me sending them links to different tools because every day I find something and I think, oh, this person can use this. So, career change can be really daunting, especially when you're transitioning to a completely different field. What advice would you give someone who's considering a career change based on your own experience?
Yeah. Well, really, it was a scary thing to decide that that's what I was going to do. But once you make that decision that I'm going to do this, then it all can kind of fall into place. I think the biggest thing is to just trust yourself. Deep down, you know what is a good fit and what is not, even if it's something that you love and what it stands for, like how I feel about public education. It just might not be a good fit right now at this time in your life. So that's okay. Doing what's right for you in this moment is what's important. So I think we can get caught up in how much time or money we've invested in something or what we visualize in our heads that it would be. I certainly did as I navigated this. But just listening to your inner voice and taking a chance, doing something that feels uncomfortable, that's usually a sign that it's leading you in a way that is going to be a good experience for personal and professional growth. So, having a strong support system is important when you're making
Mhm.
decisions like that. They can really help you along the way. And I'll, if anyone's going through this or thinking about this, I'll be one person that will support you as you navigate it.
Yes, I think that that's great advice because when you start talking to your family and your friends about it, I'm sure the initial reaction is, "Oh, are you sure you want to do that?" Because they want to protect you. They've seen you go through all of the schooling and everything that you've gone through, and I'm sure that they're like, "Oh, are you sure? Are you sure you're making the right decision?" But
Hmm.
as you said, it probably just comes down to trusting your gut and in your own instincts that this is the right thing for you to do.
Yeah. I remember making lots of lists, pros and cons, just one after another, and then it was like visible. This is what you've got to do.
That's a great way to approach it. And iHire was certainly lucky to find you. We're so fortunate to have you as our director of customer service and dealing with our clients and doing our webinars and all of the
Oh,
different things you do. So we appreciate you.
thank you. I appreciate it so much.